Welcome back to the Hill of Roses, where we come once again to celebrate the best contributors to our independent policy movement for progress to bring power to people like you. Today on the program, we got to talk to Farhad Mohit. He's a serial entrepreneur and now the founder of the Good Party. It's a application that's designed to not crowdsource money, but try to actually crowdsource voting. And they try and have a verification system so that the only candidates you find on this platform to be able to support are these candidates who are uncorrupted by big money influence. This is a method that they think will help us try and break the corporate stranglehold over our government that has created a duopoly for us all. So we really got to dive deep into the inspiration for why we need a vote pledging system and what that system looks like for so many different user groups, and how he wants to expand the Good Party for the future, because we have to do so much focusing going forward. It's not just about the elections. We need to support our democracy by building out these technological solutions that help get the people transparency to their candidates and get candidates connected to supporters that can fuel their campaign. So it was great being able to talk with Farhad. I thought it was a very important conversation, so I hope you all will maybe consider going to the Good Party's website and getting more involved after learning about it in today's episode. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, we are here with Farhad Mohit. He is one of the founders of the Good Party, which is a web-based application that is trying to help people find good candidates and seeing if they have enough support to really get across the finish line. But I think I'm not going to do it as much justice. Could you let everyone else out there know, what is the vision for the Good Party and where it is today?
The vision for the Good Party is that we are in a we're sort of stuck in a duopoly. This presidential election is a perfect example. Very few people, I think, if they look deep inside their hearts, would say these are the two best Americans who could lead us. And so we're stuck in this sort of lesser of two evils kind of world, and the political industrial complex itself is designed to keep it that way. The Good Party is an attempt at using technology as a lever, and the 100 million people, mostly digital natives that don't participate in our democracy, who are eligible to vote but don't vote. It's a sort of technology plus digital natives as a lever to kind of come in and wrest control from the two-party system that we have and allow good candidates with great ideas to get elected and be representatives for us, which is what democracy's promises.
So I think my first question is, I think there are a lot of definitions of good.
Yeah.
Obviously, as much as there are going to be design flaws that encourage a two-party system in America, largely there is going to be some coalition saying, it's because they care about these different issues. So, roughly 20% of people in America are going to say they actually agree with the Democratic Party. 20% of people are going to say they actually probably agree with the Republican Party.
Right.
And so, I ask you, what's your definition of good for people that want to know what you're trying to aim at, where these two parties are not aligning for you?
Well, it's I think broadly that's what you said is correct. But even if we agree with your premise, that's 40% of Americans. There's a majority of people.
Yeah. Not a majority, but still.
Democracy is based on majorities. But here's some things we can define the good. And we say, what did you call yourself? The Good Party? We get that all the time. Let's start by what's not good. What we can agree is not good is money, for instance, pouring in and buying an election. Money is not what, that wasn't what the founders intended. It was supposed to be one man, one person, one vote. And so right now, as it stands, in the two-party system, 99% of the elected officials that we have in Congress, 99% get most of their funding from big money sources. That's people or PACs, corporate lobbyists, and individuals donating more than $200 at a time. That's not good. in our definition, in our world. We don't think that's good enough. We believe that people should have to be able to be elected on the strength of their ideas. So that's one of the things that we put in there. Now, by the way, that's the main criteria that we say. We say we want representatives of the people. If they're representatives of the people, they cannot be beholden to money and big interest. The problem with the two parties, blue and red, are they basically have been captured by big money and big special interests. I mean, this is going to be the most expensive election by a long shot. I think Center for Responsive Politics was going to say it's a $14 billion election now.
Yeah,
it's an absurd amount of money to be pouring in, and 90% of elected officials get reelected into Congress based on the money that they raise. And only 18% approval rating for Congress. So we can kind of look at that and say, that's not good, right? You have 18% approval rating, 90% of these people get elected by the amount of money they raise, 99% of them are raising money, most of their money from big money sources. So where do you think their allegiances are? What do you think they're playing for? And so, you have situations where rules and things are being made that are not to the benefit of the people, very, very directly related to getting people reelected and appeasing or making people happy that are paying for these elections. So we don't like that, and so that's we define as anyone who is taking more money from small individual donors than big ones is potentially good. Now they of course have to also have a platform that appeals to folks and whatever else, but that's a starting point. And we like the notion of good because once it gets rolling, once people start to understand the good party is not about it's not a real political party. It's really showing you good candidates that are not beholden to money and special interest. It becomes a very compact handle. Oh, that's a good candidate versus a not so good candidate, not good enough candidate. So that's the idea behind it.
So, a couple things to clarify before I kind of dive into a little bit more about what the application is and what it helps does for the users and the candidates. In that definition of, good money standards, we certainly agree here. Democracy reform, including campaign finance reform, is essential. But right now, in our political contributions for fundraising for these campaigns, as you said, 91% of elections are roughly decided by who can campaign finance more. Right. And I would say not all, large donations over $200 are necessarily, corrupt influences necessarily. Right. There are going to be certain ones, of course, that could be. They give the 5,600 and they're funding PACs, etc. There can be a lot more. But I think there has to be some lines, because I think the definition of a quote unquote large dollar donation of $200 right now is, not that big of a leap of faith when only 5% of people in general are giving to campaigns. I think we need to have some leeway, like to say, if only 91% of the time, you're going to win the election because of simply the money alone, don't we need some people who are willing to say, fundraise larger chunks at a time so they can win and then overturn these laws? Like, what's your feeling on, how do you differentiate what is bad money versus good? Do you just do it simply by looking at the results of over 200 in total, as well as PAC money?
Yeah, we do, but not all of everything you say is actually true. We're not saying that there aren't any candidates that raise a lot of money that even if they don't raise it necessarily from all small donations, that have to have all their positions are back. What we're saying is that there's an opening here, we believe, for a system to come into place that can actually get people who are not beholden to money and special interests, and to be able to get them without any need for money, hopefully down the line, as if people buy into this, and if we can actually activate this 100 million sleeping kind of group of people. We have a hypothesis. Our hypothesis is that it's not these 100 million people who are not voting are not just all destitute and completely unaware of the political system. There are a lot of them what we call rational apathetics. The rational apathetics are people who just don't believe in the lesser of two evils. They don't believe the system works for them. They don't believe that this yes or red or blue are going to be the answer for them, and they don't have a good option. They don't have another option, so they just kind of are checked out of politics. And disproportionate amount of those people we feel are young. They are young. We know they are young. And so what we're trying to do here is to say, and by the way, this is a perfect time to talk about this. When you look at any campaign anywhere, because of the dynamics of what the world is today, it's donate, 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 right? So hit you up, donate $270 for Bernie, $1.50 for this, that, donate, donate, donate. We 5-to-1 matching, whatever the heck. Every campaign spiel right now is donate, 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 because that's the only on-ramp there is. And by the way, every challenger to every incumbent has to pick right now red or blue. We talked to a dozen or more challengers in this cycle alone, and directly spoke to them about what they're seeing. And none of them are truly red or truly blue. They just understand that if you want to really get into politics, you have to pick a side. And when you pick the blue side or the red side, there's a whole slate of things that come. And you have to answer to all that whole slate, and they don't necessarily believe in the slate. So what we're trying to build here is kind of like a, if you would, a GoFundMe, but go vote me. We're building technology, free open source technology that allows campaigns to say, hey, I don't need your money. All I need is your vote. Can you pledge your vote? Can you tell other people about my positions and my candidacy? Have that spread virally. Tell people about that and pledge me your vote. And then we help people spread the word of mouth very quickly, hopefully go viral on the basis of the merits of their campaign and their positions. And then we help those who have signed up for this campaign see how many votes are needed to win, how many votes we have so far pledged. And if we can get over the limit, then we activate and we say, let's go vote. And we do the get out the vote thing now for the win. So that's the notion is, if that on-ramp was possible, wouldn't that be great? And that's what we should focus on. That doesn't mean that the lesser of two evils isn't a viable strategy, and raising money isn't the only way to get it done right now. Some people are doing a good job of it. And whatever.
I mean, it seems like the basic services that you're trying to provide is some level of campaign finance transparency. That way you have some sense of, good money versus bad. Obviously, as I said before, not all large dollar fundraising is necessarily bad. You look at candidates like Jamal Bowman and Mondaire Jones, 50% of their money came from large dollar donors, but they weren't taking corporate PACs and they weren't taking it from specific special interest groups. So it provides transparency in general around their financing. And then furthermore, you're saying that it gives the candidate some sense of, movement tracking, how much they are going to be able to have pledged in terms of votes, as well as potential campaign financing sources. And so clarify if I'm wrong or not, but could people, let's say, hypothetically, let's say I wanted to consider running in the year 2024, let's just say, could I basically start a profile with you guys and then track along the way how many people would, fundraise to see some sense if it's worth doing it that year?
You could do that. You could just think of it as a campaign, crowd voting versus crowdfunding. So you're setting up a campaign. You would say, here's what my positions are. Here's what I'm doing. I'm running for, the district, representative for Congress in your district. And by the way, for next section, as we're close enough to the end of this election cycle, we talk about the next section, we'll have it for local elections as well. So maybe you're running for a small seat in your local city council. Here's how many votes I need. Here's how many votes I think I already have based on sort of my positions and where I have. That's how many. This is the difference. And you just try to get pledges for people to vote for that. And it's free for you to set up. It's free to use the tools, and you should put it into your campaign emails, and you should have your volunteers and other people, your campaign staff working on it. They should all be trying to getting you votes pledged rather than raising you dollars. Then you have to take those dollars, buy ads, and then buy ads. And at the end of the ads, what are you trying to do? Tell them to go to the polls and vote for you, right? So what we're trying to do is just kind of bring that whole system up to date and use the same kinds of tools we've used for all sorts of other analysis of other areas, as an example, GoFundMe or Kickstarter, and use the same set of tools and make them available to campaigns for free in order to allow them to compete hopefully on the strength of the person representing and the ideas that they represent, and hopefully having those go viral and becoming this good option that is not taking money, not very clearly coming from a different angle, not red, not blue, and that we feel will energize potentially a lot of people. Now, there are a lot of hypotheses and there are a lot of building to do, but that's the game we're in for.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think this is the perfect point to take a break. In the second part, we can really dive into a little bit more about, what is that true user experience of how do you try and interact with these different types of roles that are going to have to interact with your program. And then, we can discuss a little bit more the big picture, as well as seeing where you hope to expand the Good Party from where it is today. I think there's going to be a lot of developments, as you mentioned just now, about how do we start to develop more post-election cycle. So come back with us in our second part, where we talk with Farhad to be able to figure out a little bit more about where the Good Party is going forward and how all of you can get involved with it if you so desire.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, we're back. We are talking with Farhad Mohit, one of the founders of the Good Party. We've been talking about the original inspiration for the idea, as well as some of the benefits of trying to create technological solutions to help unlock the current duopoly of our political system. So, Farhad, the first thing I wanted to focus on is, getting a little bit more knowledgeable about how different roles try and interact with you. We started to go through a hypothetical of a potential candidate. Can you tell me more about how you try to interact with the candidates, what tools you give them to be able to interact with your platform?
Yeah, essentially, we look at this as sort of a three-part system. It's the candidates and their campaign that they're running. It's how we can get attention for those campaigns and drive awareness, and then ultimately it's the users and the voters that we can attract into the system. So if you think about the candidate experience, it's basically coming in and setting up a crowd voting platform, as we said. So you kind of put in your campaign, what your positions are. We can pull them from you. If we did that for this election cycle, we pulled all the campaigns because nobody knew about us. What we're going to do now that we have a longer runway for the next time, and all of our systems are set up, is reach out to potential candidates and say to them, this is available to you. It's a free tool. We let them set up their system there. Then what we have is a just like any other type of awareness getting thing. We believe that there's a huge number of creatives out there, what we call the creative class, creators of the world, who are aching to be part of movements and things. I mean, we're seeing young people. Yeah. There's a whole influencer class of young people that are out there. I mean, you saw the campaign in Tulsa. For Trump, that TikTok kind of TikTok users overtook and kind of led to.
And we have a lot of those volunteers here at the Hill of Roses too. We very much appreciate this youthful enthusiasm for the political scene.
Yeah. So and my background. I mean, I created the Flipagram was my entrepreneurial thing. I've been building these systems, and that's what is TikTok today. So I'm very familiar with that space of creatives and people wanting to do stuff and having things go viral based on things. Right now, we don't have a way for a campaign to go viral and get votes. And that's so we believe that once we have this infrastructure set up and some cool, really awesome, independent, different young candidates that are not beholden to any special interest, they're coming from a different angle, we think we can go then to influencers, creators, and everyone else and say, look, these are wonderful candidates. Whatever your issue is, there's one good example is a DJ called Blondish. She broadcasts on Twitch. Her gig is bye plastic. She's an environmentalist, and she always mixes environmentalism into her sets and into her programming. And we were talking to her and saying, wouldn't it be better to be able to pull in actual candidates that you could actually make that change the rules you want changed instead of more directly? And she was like, wow, that's amazing. So that's one example of the engaging the creative class in taking a campaign now and helping it go viral. And then ultimately it's really getting to people out there with an offering that's not lesser of two evils. It's not the same old package, in a slightly different way, but it's completely new, and saying that these are fresh candidates. They totally are not of this establishment. They are coming from a different angle. They're coming from a backed or promoted by these things, and get these voters to say, yeah, I'm in, and I'm going to tell my friends and family to be in, and get that going. So that gets going, and then for the user experience, the last piece of it is that once these campaigns start to go viral, the ones that do, we will help get out the vote with them too, and allow these the users to tell other users that they're actually voting. Use the same online tools, selfies and other things, to say, hey, I voted, you should too, we were on the same campaign together, that kind of stuff. So it should be fun, and some stuff that we're used to in many other realms but don't have for politics, unfortunately.
So I'd love to ask you, obviously there's going to be some sort of vetting system, either the first time getting posted onto the website and or monitoring ongoing throughout someone's campaign or career. What is that process of how you either, initially screen people? So like, do they have to expect to go through an interview with you or share some campaign web sources and you're looking for specific policies? And, furthermore, what's your monitoring process? Because obviously some people, when they're just starting out, they might not have any corporate backing, but they can take it over time. What's that?
This is a very good question. And for this cycle, because we were coming in late, we kind of already were past the primaries by the time our original version of this, the Good Party, launched. We basically were stuck with the group of people who already had made it past the primaries. So, but that's a blessing and a curse, in the sense that in one way, these are candidates that are available, so they're there, and they've been vetted sort of through a process. In another one, it's kind of unfortunate, because certain states like California, where I live, it's only the two make it past the post, and that's it. There's no other folks allowed. So what we'll be doing for this next cycle is trying out a new system, which is we want candidates that are coming in to take a pledge and say they will pledge for small money, to raise money from small money, not from PACs and other things. They will take an anti-corruption pledge that once they're in Congress, they're not going to become, the anti-corruption pledge is actually something that's done by Represent Us, and it's an anti-corruption law that they're trying to pass. So it has a whole bunch of things around gerrymandering, lobbying, etc. And then we want them to have an accountability pledge as well, that once they're in Congress, they will still be accountable to the people who got them there, which means that they will have their schedule, they're online, and they will also stream all of their meetings. They will be closed captioned and searchably archived, so that if you want to know what your representative did, last week with the Corn Growers Association, you should be able to have the right to see that. So we're going to make them take certain pledges, and then as the campaign progresses, we have updates. Just like a crowdfunding campaign, this is a crowd voting campaign. So we will have updates that go out to all of the user base that has already joined the campaign and pledged their vote. Most of these hopefully will be positive, in the sense that, wow, look what we're getting closer to our goal. We needed 100,000 votes and we're at 80,000 there. Tell some more friends, getting people excited and updating them on the progress of the campaign, which, by the way, doesn't happen right now at all. It's always send me money, send me money, send me money. But then the second part of that is that if a campaign should go off the rails, something terrible happens, they're no longer being adherent to the things that they said that they wouldn't do, they're going back on their promises and everything else. It's simple enough. We send a campaign promise, a campaign email update saying that this campaign has gone off the rails and this is what's happened here. By the way, one of the other cool things about what we do is that because we're just taking pledges for votes, we're also allow people to basically say, this is my first choice, this is my second choice, this is my third choice. So ranked choice voting is built in to our system. So if there are three candidates and you like two of them better than the incumbent, hey, tell us which one you like more and which one you like next, and we'll let you do that. So if one of them happens to fall out of the race for some reason, the other one is still available. Or by the way, if your second choice is the one that we have enough votes for to win the primary, as an example, and the first one we don't, we'll let you know that too. So you kind of don't waste your vote either in our system. So it is a little bit of a work in progress, that said, but I think we have mechanisms and ways of interacting with pledges and voters that haven't been done before, and I think as we build it and it works, hopefully we'll have some runaway successes that then kind of show that it's possible, and that'll get more candidates and more people excited about it, and that snowballs into the exponential growth that you've seen some of the other things had. Like when I created Flipagram, 6 days after we launched Flipagram, it was the #1 app in the US, and 3 months later, #1 app in 87 countries, and now TikTok is one of the biggest apps in the world. And that's the same. We sold the technology to them to do that. And so if it starts to go, the beauty of technology is that it scales very fast.
Yeah, it accelerates fast. So, I think the vast majority of people who will end up watching this, as much as I think we have a really politically passionate audience here, are ending up just as the voters and the supporters more so than the candidates. There'll be a couple who will run, but can you just, as this final thing, let people know, what is that experience like just coming in as a supporter? Like, how do you get updates from the candidates that you are following? What do they expect in terms of like relinquishing money? Like, is it put in escrow, like it's banked away as a true pledge? Or is it just like, hey, I'll be notified later that you had at one point pledged this, you should give that donation now?
You're not donating
if they want to get involved today.
Yeah, you're not donating money. First of all, you're pledging your vote. And so all we're asking of you to say is, if you're willing to vote for this candidate, tell us you're willing to vote for it. So signing up for it is as simple as clicking add my vote, pledge my vote, and giving us your email and your name, and we let you check, of course, your voter registration, all that stuff, to make sure that you're ready to vote. We help you with that. But then it becomes a process of, okay, you're part of this campaign. You're one of the supporters of this campaign. You've said you're a likely voter for this campaign. Now we ping you from time to time when there's updates to the campaign. We ask you to share with your friends and family. We keep you updated as to what is happening, and hopefully showing that progress bar kind of going towards what the number we know is needed to win. Right now, come election day, or when early voting happens, say, okay, guys, we have enough votes to win this election. We need you to make sure on show up and vote. So we then help people do with early voting. We help them, of course, ask for mail-in ballots or find their polling location. We partner with Vote America to do that. And then once you voted, we have to get out the vote piece, which is sort of tell us you voted. Get your take a selfie and share that with your friends and make sure that they know that you voted. By the way, every person that, when you come into the app, every person that you recruit into the apps, or you send a share link to or whatever, when they join what we call your crew. So we kind of know how many people you have brought into the app. There's a little gamification going on over there with that. But at the same time, it also allows us to know, well, if John voted, we should let these 7 people know, because those are the ones that John knows the best. Those are his circle. Those are his crew that he brought into the app. So we help with the get out the vote piece as well. And the idea isn't that we force you to do it or have a contract with you to do it or anything like that. That's obviously not feasible. But what we do is we study these things. We know what the breakages look like, how many people say they're going to do something, are going to do something, and how many don't. And we hopefully improve the system so it's as efficient as possible. But within the margin of error, we only activate the vote when we have enough votes to win, for sure. So that's how it kind of works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense to me. It's really, as you said before, it's kind of like crowdsourcing the votes. As you said, it's not crowdsourcing the actual money.
Yeah. So the question to ask is, and I'm wondering what your audience would feel like is, the notion of pledging your vote rather than giving money if that's refreshing to people, the idea of pledging your vote to a candidate that's not red, not blue, but running on a set of issues that matter to you, that are specifically tailor-made, and they don't have to fit into the red or
I
blue.
mean, I would certainly ask everyone, feel free to comment down below or, be able to check it out. I mean, my initial impression is that it's going to be a good thing if you're someone who's already in that district. But I think with some of these national races, it's going to feel like you might not be connected. For example, we've had candidates here from all across the country. Most of them I can't vote for, but I've given financial support to several of them across the country. Something like this, I wouldn't be able to pledge a vote for them. So it's like, it doesn't have that appeal for me. It has a little bit more of a localized element.
Well, but you can still give a word of mouth support to. And so by having them, telling people you might know somebody in that district.
Sure, a page you can send them to, like a friend if you do know anyone in that area.
Right, absolutely right. And so...
Yeah. So, Farhad, I want to give you the floor. Can you tell people, obviously we're very close to the 2020 election. By the time this video comes out, it's actually going to be probably after the election. Right. So for the people who want to get involved, whether that be a prospective 2022 candidate or someone who wants to track good candidates for the future, the floor is yours. Let them know how they can find you and get involved.
The best way to start is thegoodparty.org. That's where our main site is, and we're a nonprofit, not even non-revenue. We're free open source software, so we're building it so that it can be given away for free to these campaigns. We believe that this is an infrastructure for democracy that we're building. So if you're a creator, a developer, or a candidate who wants to be part of this thing, come on to thegoodparty.org, and you'll find the appropriate area to get on here. And we'd love to have you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Well, we're going to have to check in with you again once we're getting geared up for the 2022 elections. But I know a lot of folks out there are probably a little bit exhausted from the election that just wrapped up, or who knows, by the time this came out, we could still be counting. Who knows?
Oh, gosh.
But Farhad, thank you so much for coming on today and being able to explain the good party for everyone out there.
You're welcome. Take care. Thank you for having me on, John. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode of The Hill of Roses. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please let us know by subscribing to our channel, liking today's video, and sharing the video with your friends. Also, if you want to be notified, please make sure you hit the bell when you subscribe. Finally, if you want to find more of our network's content, please go to thehillofroses.com. With that being said, we love y'all for helping the movement grow, and we hope you're staying rosy out there.